Spiritual self. Spiritual self is one of the 7 dimensions of the soul. It can be defined by looking into many perspectives, such as philosophical, sociological, Eastern, and science. Firstly, in philosophical perspective, many philosophers claim that the spiritual self composed of the soul. Drawing on the words of his teacher Socrates, Plato considered the psyche or soul to be the essence of a person, being that which decides how we behave. He considered this essence to be an incorporeal, eternal occupant of our being. Plato believed that as bodies die, the soul is continually reborn in subsequent bodies. Aristotle, by contrast, thought of the soul simply as a form, that is, a way of behaving and thinking. The soul does not exist without the body. Soul and body are correlative principles of the individual. Neither can exist without the other. There is no personal immortality for him. Following Aristotle, Thomas Aquinas understood the soul to be the first actuality of the living body. The soul is definitely not corporeal and it can't exist without the body. While according to St. Augustine, the existence of the soul is proved by thought, consciousness, and memory. He assumes with Plato that when God formed the human soul, he endowed it with eternal ideas, the principles and norms of reason and will. Secondly, in sociological perspective, William James used the term the empirical self to refer to all the various ways people answer the question, "Who am I?" James went on to group the various components of the empirical self into 3 subcategories: the material self, the social self, and the spiritual self. According to him, the spiritual self is our inner self or our psychological self. It is comprised of our self-perceived abilities, attitudes, emotions, interests, values, motives, opinion, traits, and wishes. By the spiritual self, I mean a man's inner or subjective being. Looking onto the other side, spirituality can be seen as the main thing when we talk about spiritual self. Spirituality can mean different things to different people. For some, it's primarily about participation in organized religion. For others, it's a non-religious experience that involves getting in touch with their spiritual selves through private prayer, yoga, meditation, quiet reflection, or time in nature. An instinct towards spirituality appears to be deeply ingrained in humans. People can't help but ask big questions. Research shows that even the clearest skeptics can still feel a sense that there is something greater than the physical world they see. As the brain processes sensory experience, it naturally looks for patterns, and people's conscious selves often seek meaning in those patterns. This can lead to the phenomenon known as cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is not unique to religion or spirituality, but often occurs in the context of such beliefs.
Moreover, spirituality and religious affiliation aren't necessarily synonymous. It's highly possible that even as religious affiliation decreases, a sense of spiritual identification could remain steady or even increase. No causal link has been established, but higher levels of spirituality have been linked to increased compassion, strengthened relationships, and improved self-esteem. Some research has indicated that avoiding magical thinking and being unable to identify patterns in the surrounding world may be linked to depression or anhedonia, or the inability to experience pleasure. When we say magical thinking, to most people don't believe in magic. They may wish for a good outcome by knocking on wood. Magical thinking is the need to believe one's hope and desires can have an effect on how the world turns. People will make all sorts of connections between mystical thinking and real-life events even when it's not rational. Going back to the perspectives, on some Eastern perspectives, they hold that all living things from the smallest bacterium to the largest mammals are the souls and have their physical representative or the body in the world. The actual self is the soul, while the body is only a mechanism to experience the karma of that life. Some teach that even non-biological entities possess souls. This belief is called animism. While in modern science, there is no evidence to support the existence of the soul when traditionally defined as the spiritual breath of the body. While in connection in philosophy, in metaphysics, the concept of soul may be equated with that of mind in order to refer to the consciousness and intellect of the individual. Talking about the mind as equated concept to soul, mindfulness can be also a thing. Mindfulness is a state of active, open attention to the present. This state encompasses observing one's thoughts and feelings without judging them as good or bad. To live mindfully is to live in the moment and reawaken oneself to the present rather than dwelling in the past or anticipating the future. Mindfulness can also be a healthy way to identify and manage latent emotions that are causing problems in personal or professional relationships. Mindfulness is frequently used in meditation and certain kinds of therapy. It has many positive benefits. It is also a tool that allows people to be more aware of their physical and emotional conditions without getting bogged down in self-criticism and judgment. In a nutshell, consciousness is your awareness of everything you experience in your mind and through your senses. There are some philosophers who argue that consciousness, like free will, cannot be proven by science and is, therefore, a meaningless illusion. Most agree, however, that while we have yet to understand the nature of consciousness, it does exist. Philosophers may be better able to understand and defend the seat of consciousness that dictates how we feel, what we hear and see, and how we maintain a sense of our past, present, and future selves. Going back to the spirituality, the behavioral manifestation of spirituality can be seen through the practice of religion. Though no one is currently able to prove the existence of one God or many, much evidence of the power of religious belief has been found. Religion, from the Abrahamic faiths of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism to the Dharmic religions of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sikhism, has shaped cultures, laws, and lives for thousands of years. Organized religion has inarguably been responsible for many of history's wars, atrocities, and injustices. Yet, it's not all bad. Religion can help people make sense of a confusing world, provide motivation, encourage altruism, regulates people's cognition, actions, and emotions, bind society together, an agent of societal development, societal oppression and control, and lastly, it is a human quest for reason and meaning. In fact, though the causal link is currently unclear, some evidence suggests that religious people may be physically and mentally healthier than non-believers. Playing the integral role of spiritual self, as we find and create meaning in our lives, the spiritual self is the main responsible here. Perhaps once in our lives we ask ourselves, why am I alive and what does my existence mean? This question is actually contemplated by existential thinkers who grounded their ideas on freedom and responsibility. For existentialists, all human beings are basically free to make life choices and to shoulder responsibility for every action they take. Simply speaking, we are held accountable for who we are and what we will become. As a student, you cannot blame your parents, teachers, or a supernatural being when bad things happen to your academic endeavors. In connection in finding and creating meaning in life, Viktor Frankl discovered and made logotherapy. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote the book A Man's Search for Meaning. In his writings, he showed how finding and creating meaning in life can move a person to continue living, even in the midst of unavoidable and inhumane sufferings. To further understand, let us discuss the three basic assumptions of his theory. Number 1. Freedom of will. Frankl acknowledged that human beings are innately subjected to certain limitations, yet he construed that these limitations should not hinder man's ability to overcome hardships and struggles. Essentially, freedom of will implies that human beings are free from the constraints of limitations through the power of determination and resilience. Number 2. Will to meaning. Frankl assumes that the primary aim of people is to find a purpose and meaning for one's existence. As human beings persevere to find meaning and purpose in everyday undertakings, it enables them to practice resilience, which in turn regulates their physical and psychological health. Moreover, it also serves as a protective factor in facing extreme circumstances of pain, hardships, and struggle. And lastly, meaning of life. Frankl believes that the meaning of life is unique to each person due to the notion that human beings have different interpretations of reality. According to him, human beings can find meaning in different ways, termed as the meaning of life triad. Even though the meaning of life is unique to each person, there is a tendency for individuals, regardless of the era and community where they belong to, experience the same event, thus yielding common meanings.
After having the knowledge about spiritual self, do you see spiritual self important as other dimension of self? In what way can we show responsibility to our own spiritual self? Let me know what you're thinking. Thank you for watching.